to Labatt Buffalo main event. Bob Gaughan along with Brad Ryder. Coming up on today's show, Brad and I will talk the Buffalo Sabres with managing partner Larry Quinn. We'll also answer your emails from our website. But first, we start off with the Buffalo Bills. Brad, the Bills defeat the Miami Dolphins 38-17. They're in the playoffs. Your thoughts on the big win over the hapless Dolphins?
They're in the playoffs. They're in the race. They're still in the conversation. Does it count? I mean, this Dolphins team, the talk is, are they going to go 0-16? They might go 0-30. I can't envision this franchise winning another football game. How bad was that team?
In the Christmas spirit, I thought they really gift-wrapped the win for the Buffalo Bills. Especially Beck's.
I still don't know what happened on that play. George Wilson just all of a sudden had the ball and was in the end zone. I couldn't believe some of the things I saw out of that Dolphins team. So it's good to see what the Bills were able to accomplish yesterday, but it's tough to take a lot of stock in a victory over that Miami Dolphins team.
I thought one of the things that they really did better today was the offensive-defensive lines. I thought the offensive line dominated, gave some pressure, gave some time, also running the ball. Obviously, 2 running backs over 100 yards. That was great. The defensive line got good pressure on the Miami quarterbacks.
It was nice to see them put everything together like that. I think my favorite thing about this is when I'm thinking about the stats from the game, 2 100-yard rushers for the first time in a Bills game since 1996. And a quarterback throws for 4 touchdowns for the first time since Drew Bledsoe was here. These are all rookies that we're talking about. Trent Edwards is a rookie, and Fred Jackson is a rookie, and of course Marshawn Lynch is a rookie. So a lot of the statistics that we saw offensively came out of guys that, at least in theory, are going to be around for a long time.
And every time Trent Edwards throws a bomb to Lee Evans, I think that puts the question of, does he have the big arm strength behind us? And I think also, you look at his record as a starter, 5-1 so far as a starting quarterback. I mean, that's kind of the way that Tom Brady started off. It's kind of the way Roethlisberger started off. So I think that's a great sign for Trent Edwards.
Yeah, 5-1 with a little help from the long bomb that Lossman threw to Evans. Doesn't get credit for it, but whatever. I think Edwards is really growing into his role on this team, and it's just coming a little bit at a time, one step at a time. They're giving him a little bit more to do. His completion percentage was less than 50%. But so what? When 4 of those passes, 4 of those 11 you complete are all for touchdowns.
Very few negatives to come out of the game. I thought they did get caught on the onside kick. That was just as Miami was starting to come back in the game. I thought they were fooled by the onside kick in the third quarter. Got a little scary in the third quarter, but that was about it.
Yeah, there was maybe a 5-minute stretch. A 2-play drive was a little bit scary, just to see that ending in the Sam Congato touchdown. But really it was never in doubt. That was a bad, bad Miami football team.
Well, talking about the Bills, and as you mentioned, near the playoffs, at least in the conversation for the playoffs, that means that maybe Dick Jauron is in the conversation for Coach of the Year. We've had a little bit of talk about that. Your thoughts on Dick Jauron maybe being a possible candidate for Coach of the Year?
He absolutely belongs in the conversation, but I think the problem I'm going to have in saying, yes, this should be the guy is there are so many players on this team who didn't see the field until they had to, forced in by injury. It took injuries to get Jabari Greer on the field. He's been a very good player for the Buffalo Bills at cornerback this year, and he would have been the nickel back or maybe the dime back if not for injuries.
Loyal to a fault, A-Train, you mean? Could that possibly be one?
Wasn't that the best news of the week? Yeah. Anthony Thomas goes to injured reserve. I don't wish for him to be injured. I just wish for him to not touch the football.
I wish for Fred Jackson to be on the field more.
Right. And it has taken things like that, issues like that, to get some of these guys onto the field. So nice job assembling a team of players who can step in when the injuries happen. But really, that's the one thing I hold against Dick Jauron, that it took injuries to get some of these really better football players on the field.
Well, I think that at this point, the Bills have not beaten an over 500 football team. You beat the Jets twice, you beat Miami twice, you beat the Ravens, which aren't a very good football team. Washington's not a very good football team. You know, they really have to beat, I think, a team that's over 500 in order to be in the conversation with guys like Belichick. Come on, 13-0, he's going to win it. Tomlin, Romeo Crennel. I mean, I think those guys are ahead of him right now for Coach of the Year.
Well, you look at what this team has done, and like you said, they haven't beaten any real top-notch teams, better than 500 teams, but they also haven't lost to any dogs.
That's true.
I mean, their losses have been bad, and they've come against New England twice, and they've come against Pittsburgh. And you look at Dallas as well. These are good teams. So really, the Bills are 7-6. They're around a 500 team. Whenever they play somebody good, they lose. Whenever they play somebody bad, they win. and that's maybe going to be good enough to get you into the playoffs this year. He's in the conversation. I don't think ultimately he comes out on top.
Well, speaking of a good team, they will be playing a good team coming up on Sunday. The Cleveland Browns are the Bills' opponent, and this might be the biggest Bills game since when, Brad?
Week 17 in 2004, when a then unknown Willie Parker ran through the Buffalo Bills defense and prevented them from going to the playoffs with the Pittsburgh Steelers. Here's some good news for you. This Bills team beat up on Miami. The Miami Dolphins have given up 355 points.
Yeah.
There's only one team in the league that's given up more. Cleveland Browns have given up 356.
Yeah.
This is going to be fun.
It should be, because I think the Browns have a top 5, maybe even a top 4 offense in the league.
Yeah.
Derek Anderson has emerged. They got a good running game with Jamal Lewis.
Braylon Edwards is a stud.
And Kellen Winslow is a stud. Joe Thomas is a stud. The whole left side of the line is stud. That offense is a top 5 offense in the league. But as you mentioned, defensively, again, the genius of Romeo Crennel. Wasn't he a defensive coach? How does this guy give up as many points as they're giving up? It should be a fun game. Can the Bills score with the Cleveland Browns? They haven't shown that they can score that many points on the road so far this year.
It's a regular thing that coaches completely lose their identity. I just think of Brian Billick being an offensive genius. They haven't scored since he got to Baltimore.
No.
I don't think. And same type of thing with Crennel. It's going to be interesting. I think there's going to be a pretty good, solid Bills contingent in Cleveland for that game. 2.5 hours down the road, and I'll be there. I'm looking forward to it. And I think it's going to be fun. This is going to be the best week of waiting for a Bills game in a long, long time.
It is definitely going to be an exciting game, and we will be back on Labatt Buffalo Main Event. We will answer your questions from our email segment, the O Restaurant and Lounge email segment, coming up next on Labatt Buffalo Main Event.
Short-term memory loss is something we all joke about. I forgot where I put my keys. I forgot what I wanted when I walked into the room. Those are common occurrences that happen to absolutely every person. And there's places out there that can help assess whether or not your loved one is really in the earlier stages of having a true memory impairment problem, or if it's just the routine forgetfulness that comes with day-to-day life. Bristol Village offers an exclusive memory care program, so call for help early.
Bristol Home and Bristol Village. Assisted living where family matters.